Welcome into 10 Questions with NBC 10 Boston. I'm Kwani Lunis, and today I'm joined by Andre Williams. If you're from the Boston area, you definitely know him if you follow football. A BC football legend, I would say. Andre, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Kwani. It's good to see you again.
You too. And I do want to start, for those that don't know your story, as I mentioned, you're running back at Boston College. How did you even end up there?
So I got my offer from BC my junior year. I was playing ball where I'm at now. I'm in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. I went to Parkland High School. I finished there, junior and senior year high school. I'm really from Jersey, and I started high school in Georgia at Harrison. And after sophomore year, my parents decided to move up here. And yeah, I finished at Parkland High School. From Parkland, I ended up getting a scholarship to Boston College after my junior season. And I took the visit. Uh, I love the ACC. I love being able to play up and down the coast. There's some great schools in the ACC, like Clemson, Florida State, Duke. I knew that I was not only going to get a great education, but also play some great competition. And, I knew that I was talented and that I had a shot to go to the league. And I figured, BC, those guys know how to work, and they're playing some great competition. And it's a place that I know I could go and play early. So that was my decision-making process going into BC.
And BC is a pipeline, I think, at least for the Giants. So we'll get to that part of your story. But the fact that you had that foresight at the beginning is phenomenal. What were some of the favorite schools that you liked to visit when you guys were on the road?
Virginia Tech was pretty cool. They have a really nice stadium down there. And again, that was another school. We had some great games against VTech. I played against David Wilson, the Fuller brothers out of VTech. So there was just a handful of schools. Clemson, going to Clemson and playing Death Valley, that was something else. I played against Christian Ponder when in my earlier career when we went down to Florida State, and just looking at I think they got a statue of that guy down there, man. It was just the way how big football is, especially in the South,
Right.
and at that school. It was really cool to go in as the underdog and go, playing with just some legends. I played with some legends, and just being next to those guys, and then you play the game, you do amazing things. You're like, man, that was Florida State. You just put up 150 yards rushing on them. Like, it was a great time.
Yeah, and at BC, you still do hold a rushing yard record at the school. I'm speaking of homecomings because yesterday, as you may have heard, Tom Brady returned and it was chaotic here. Thankfully, your leaving was not as controversial. But what is it like when you go back to BC and you get that reception from fans that know what you did in that 2013 season?
In the beginning, like when I first left for the league, I came back. I'm not sure what year I came back, but honestly, it was a little too much for me. It was a little too much. So I did enjoy it, but I feel like I needed some time to just kind of understand exactly what was going on. Life was moving so fast after senior year and beyond that, I didn't really get a chance to fully comprehend what I was doing at the time.
Well, now that you've processed it, that 2013 year, for those who aren't aware, you win a Doak Walker Award. You're a Heisman finalist. Anyone that doesn't know college football knows that's still a big deal. And then you get drafted immediately. Now that you've been able to process it, what was that time like?
Like I said, we went to school together. So, at the time, the football program it's not what it is right now. I'm looking at BC right now and I'm like, I feel like I'm part of that. did a little something to start laying some groundwork and
Mm-hmm.
bring some money interest back to the school. But at the
Right.
time, we were the underdogs. We were the ones that weren't thought of when it came to BC sports. It was all about hockey,
Mm-hmm.
So um, that year though, we just had a bunch of guys we were tired of losing, and we only had one shot. I remember um, right before that season, me and Steve Daniels were sitting down, and he was like, "Dre, I think you about to go for 1,000 this year." I said, "I have to, I have to go." And he was like, "Yeah, you might mess around and do two." I said, "I have to. I don't have
And
a
what did
choice."
you do?
And that's how it turned out. So I think the right things just came together. Ohio State's uh, head coach is Ryan Day. He was the offensive coordinator at the time, so I always credit him as the mastermind behind that season. We did get a new head coach. He's no longer there, but Coach Day and a bunch of guys that just figured out how to come together despite, you know, previous year only winning 2 games. We just had enough, and they leaned on me, and I I carried the weight, so it ended up being really cool. But then, as I said earlier, things started moving really fast to where, like, yesterday I'm in class and I'm Dre, and then the next day I come to class and I'm Mr. Williams, and people want
Mm,
to, crowd me and touch my hair and like
yikes.
just things were happening. So I
Right.
started spending a lot of time off campus, and luckily I put it in my mind that I wanted to get my degree before I left school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in the I left with applied psychology and human development major out of the education school, and that was one of the few majors that you could actually finish early.
Yeah.
So I finished the semester early. After that season was over, I was like, "Whew, I'm
Out.
done."
Right.
Peace. So December, I didn't even go to the ceremony because um, at the time it was college football awards, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
day that I accepted the Dope Walkers, the same day that we had the graduation ceremony for the
Yeah.
December graduates. So I was already on to the next thing,
Right.
and then the next day, that same night, we left for the Heisman in New
Right.
York. So it was boom, 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 one after the other. And the Heisman was something, it's this big award, but really for the guys that are in it,
Right.
up until you go and you sit down at the ceremony, it's constant media. You got to go here, you got to go here, you got to talk to this person, you got to
Mm.
do that. So I didn't know what I was getting into, but it was a great time. I was just in the middle of such a historic, momentous thing. But for me personally, I was never uh, I was never overly impressed with the things that I was accomplishing. I was more so uh, I expected it of myself. I
Okay.
expected those things of myself. So when it was happening, I didn't really I wasn't so shocked with myself, so pleased with myself to say, yeah, this is what I always wanted. This was my dream, and I'm just gonna do this until I can't do it anymore. I'm just a big picture thinker,
Yeah.
so I expected to go play ball, and then when I got there, there was more things that I wanted to do, and being in the NFL, it is a platform, especially in New York, a platform to really open yourself up to whatever it is that you're interested in. So yeah, I ended up meeting so many people in New York, and that is really how I got into the clothing. It was just an opportunity. It was just an opportunity that I ended up exploring, and it led to this. It led to this.
Which, if you're sticking around, you're going to get a tour of his new store at the end. But something you mentioned stood out: the fact that you knew you were going to go to the league, but you also were intentional about finishing up your degree. Why was that?
Mhm. Um, my parents, they weren't big. My parents are Jamaican. They're not
I knew
Americans.
the answer, but I wanted
Yeah,
it.
they're not Americans. So, and my name is Andre. Jamaicans, they watch tennis and soccer. So I was
Right,
named
right.
after a tennis player. So they always told me, go to school and get your degree, or
Mhm.
go to school and get your grades. They didn't really push me towards sports. I started playing sports because my brother was playing sports. My older brother was playing football. And when I was 2 years old, I got hit by a car, and it was really, a traumatic situation, and my heart stopped for 10 minutes. They had to resuscitate me with the paddles. And my mom, I still got the scar on my forehead where I got hit by the car. I don't know
Oh
if you can
gosh,
see it,
yeah,
but you know, my mom was like, "Yeah, I don't think contact sports is for you. I
yeah.
want you to play football." Even though I was always the biggest kid,
Hmm.
And my little brother got into football, and when he started playing, my mom was like, "All right, I guess I have to let you play." So,
Yeah.
from there, that's when I really got into it.
Well, I know you had that mentality of being an athlete, but now recently in years the NFL has obviously been dealing with the research for CTE. So has that ever been something that affected the way you thought about the game?
Um, you know, Everything that we do as humans has some level of risk to it.
Right.
You know, you could drown in a teaspoon of water if you do it wrong. So I never really I never really thought of it like that, especially
Yeah.
because I never had a concussion,
Okay.
not a documented one. I
Yeah.
never was knocked out. I definitely hit my head on the ground hard enough to wake up kind of wobbly. And you know who
Mhm.
did that? That was Luke. That was Luke Kuechly. He
Yikes.
he
Yikes.
hit me at a home game. Him and I forget that other linebacker that he was playing with in Carolina. They sandwiched me and slammed
Dang. It'd be your
me.
own brother.
Yeah, they just stab you in the back. But yeah, I never had a documented concussion. I don't know if it's this big watermelon shape of my head or what, but I was good, and I hit with these. I don't do that. So
Okay.
um, I never really thought of it in that respect. But apart from the CTE, your whole body is really taking a beat.
Right.
Your whole body is taking a beat. Thank God I never had any lower leg injuries. But yeah, it was an injury that really knocked me out of the league at the time. I had bad wrist injury
Mm.
playing in Cali with the Chargers. We were playing the Redskins and running 4-minute offense, and got my yards, got what I needed to do done, and then I'm tackled. And as I'm on the ground, another a defensive lineman comes in and jumps on top of me. I guess he was mad that they lost the game or whatever. It was one of those things that happened after the whistle, and just the position that my hand was in on the ground, I tore the ligaments in my wrist, and then the recovery from that, the surgery didn't go as it was supposed to, and
Mhm.
it took me a couple of years to really get the strength and movement back in my wrist to the point where I could be pretty normal. So um, it's very uh, difficult at times, especially just the pressure of, yeah, you got to play this week, or there's
Yeah.
somebody behind you that if you don't do it,
They
they're
trying to
right there.
yeah.
So it's always the competition, and then where you're at in the season, where you're at in your career, there's a lot of pressures that's pushing you and of course I want to play, but I
Right.
also want to put myself in a position where I still have my body after this is all said and done.
Hmm.
So, that's definitely something that I thought about later on. But
Hmm.
in the beginning, you're young, you're making money, and all of these good things are coming to you. You want to keep it going as long as
Yeah.
possible.
With that being said, are you satisfied with the way that your career panned out, despite the fact that it ended with the injury?
Um, As far as football goes, I think that I left a lot on the field, and that was just because of, life was happening. I was married, I was having kids, I was going through divorce, I was dealing with a lot of off the field issues that um definitely took away from my game,
Right.
especially, on the mental side. You really have to, even with business, you can't do business and play football. You can't go through a divorce with your child's mother and play football unless you guys are unless you guys, yeah, you have to subtract all the negative things that come with that, and it's impossible. So, I left some things on the field. Am I sad about it? No, because like I said, I'm a big picture thinker. I didn't think that football was going to be the last greatest thing that I ever did.
Right.
So um, as far as the football career goes, did I do everything that I could? No. But am I sad about it? No. I'm retired, and I say that in respect that I really, I'm done playing football. I'm good on it.
Yeah.
I can still play. I feel like I'm in my prime right now at 29, but do I want to play? No, because I've moved on to other things. I see that, there are bigger things going on in the world right now than a football game, and I feel like I have a responsibility to play a part in that. So, I'm definitely beyond the game at this point.
So I'm about to get into your store, but before I do, I have a question
Um,
about your book that you were writing in college.
oh my
Where is
God.
it? The people been waiting.
I know the people have been waiting, and every time somebody asks me that, I'm like, man, this is crazy because I've not finished this book that I told everybody that I'm working on. I actually started writing another one, but I
Okay.
shouldn't even say that
Okay. You're
because
right. Because then I'm going to
that
ask
one's
you
not
about it
finished
later.
either. But the reason is that I do have an idea for this book called The King of Queen and the Conscience,
Hmm.
but I didn't have the life experience to finish it.
Okay.
And now I do have that life experience, but I'm lacking on the time.
Okay.
So,
So
you
stay
know,
tuned for the book, people. It's going to come out eventually.
it'll come, and everything is God's time. So it's
Exactly.
gonna come exactly when it's supposed to, and it'll be received as it should be.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I had to ask. All right, let's get into your latest endeavor. You just
Uh,
opened up your own denim company. How did
yeah,
that come into play?
I opened up my first retail store for my denim shop. This is day 11 actually that we've been open, and so when I was playing football in New York, I I had a marketing agent, and he had a company called Little Red Jet. I can't remember his name, but he was this little Australian dude. I'm gonna bring you some.
Yeah.
So this shoe here was my first creative project. This is the Running Man Red
Ooh.
Herring.
Oh
So it's
wow.
an
Yeah.
ultra low top leather sneaker, and I took inspiration from Vans and PF Flyers
Yep.
and Chuck Taylors, and made a classic casual shoe, but then I just upped the level of the material.
Mm,
This is, genuine leather and lambskin interior, 100% rubber sole. So it is a very nice shoe, something
mhm.
that you're going to find from like the Common Projects or whatever, one of those $200 casual shoes. But I'm pricing mine at 120.
Okay.
Um, and I did them in black and white. So I ended up working. My marketing agent, he introduced me to somebody named Eamon. Eamon was in New York. He was working on releasing his own line of shoes.
Mhm.
It's a company called One Ground. I'm not sure if he's still doing it or not, but he extended his creative faculties to me and said, yeah, like, you're a running back, you could do a shoe, it'd be
Yeah.
cool, and you could release together. So I jumped on the idea because I've always been tinkerer. You know, I've always been somebody that likes to create. At the time, this was 2015. I built a fragrance lab in my townhouse. So I was like, man, I gotta, why am I sitting here playing PlayStation and Xbox? And I just felt like I was wasting my time. Love playing games, but I
Right.
knew I was wasting my time. So I'm like, let me find something that interests me, that I'm actually growing, I'm actually learning and creating something that maybe it could be, big, it could be cool, it could be something
Mhm.
that people like, people want. And started making soaps and different things, learning about essential oils and candles. I was just messing around in there. I was making some cool stuff. And so me and Eamon linked up. We started working on a shoe, and going through the process of sitting down with this designer and creating the designs and the tech packs, communicating with the factory. I ended up really liking that process,
Hmm.
And then when I created the shoe, I was like, man, this is cool. This is cool. And I loved the shoe, and everybody else loved the shoe, but there wasn't necessarily a need in the marketplace for another shoe, you know. So it got me thinking, like, man, I wish that I had something that was needed, something that was a niche. And then I realized, like, I don't even wear jeans because there's no real athletic fit.
True.
People will take some denim fabric and they'll put the spandex in it, and then you have something that sort of fits, but
But it looks weird.
it's
Like,
showing off the curves of your knees.
right.
So and there's some people that's wearing women's jeans, so, and hey,
Do what you gotta
to,
do.
to each his own. But
Right.
for me, what makes jeans handsome on a man is the ruggedness, the corners
Mhm.
and the creases and the edges. I think that's what makes jeans rugged and handsome on a guy. So, I set out to figure out what denim fabric was, how it was made, what's the good stuff, where do you get
Mhm.
it, those type of things. And the shoe was the key. And I ended up impressing a brand developer with my shoe. Just being in New York, I ran into these people. So um, ended up having this 3-hour conversation with this guy, and the amount of information that I got from him in the 3 hours
Wow.
was, man, he qualified himself because that information he gave me, I paid for over the course of 6 months, learning how to make that shoe with
Mhm.
Eamon. So from there, then my brain it just started going and going. I couldn't sleep that night, and ended up coming up with the idea for the athletic fit, you know. And so um, the athletic fit is that's the signature of the brand. It's something, a cut that is for a guy between waist size 28 and 40, which is most people,
Mhm.
but then it still has extra space in the thigh and then fitted below the knee. And the thing that's cool is that the selvage denim, that is denim fabric that is made on an old style loom, a shuttle loom, as they call it. These are the vintage looms that when Levi Strauss first patented selvage fabric, all the jeans were made like that, and they were built for durability, for workwear. So a selvage denim, it's made on this shuttle loom, and you don't get a huge roll of fabric. The width of it is only between 28 and 32 inches, but it's exquisite. You can make fabrics that, have different weights, different textures, different colors. There's formulas for, it's like drinking wine. Everybody has their own grape that they like. I'm a Malbec guy. I like the Argentinian grape. So as far as that, there are some denim heads, they only like raw denim. There's some people, they only want wash denim. They don't like dark jeans,
Mhm.
so you can make some great fabric. So I ended up starting with I have four fabrics, and two denim lines. I have the all-weather workers and travelers. There's the George, Tom, and Brad fabrics. Each fabric has a raw, ripe, or antique wash. So you could go from loom state denim raw all the way up to heavy distress. You might have some rips, some thigh rips, or whatever it happens to be. And we can, look at them later. But I just started with a few things that was definitely different. That the fit is different. It fits most American men, and people are like, it's for athletes. That just means that they must be baggy or something. And I'm like, no, they're not going to be baggy. They're gonna fit you, and they're gonna contour to your body. So I've actually, I've changed a lot of people's minds on what that term athletic means, and I feel like I'm owning it now, which is what I wanted to do is come out with a signature, something that is a niche, something that's needed in the market.
Yeah, and creating a lane for people that, like you said, may have not even wanted to wear jeans, and now they find something that works. How did you pick?
They don't want to wear it because it doesn't fit.
Right, exactly. Why would you if it doesn't fit?
And then it tears apart in a year, and you just spent $90 to $150 on it, and they're like, "Wow, the jeans is too expensive. The jeans are $300." And yeah, that's the market for it, But if you go to Ironheart or Edwin or somebody else in that space, yeah, the jeans is $300, $400. But if you go to Double RL or Tom Ford, I'm gonna offer you these fabrics for $600, $1,000, $1,200. Some Balmain jeans, $1,500, and it's all crap.
Right.
It's garbage.
You're just paying for the name.
And they do have some good fabrics. They do.
Yeah.
Some of them do have some good fabrics, but you really have to first ask, is it Selvage? Because then that's at least, not all Selvage is equal, but at least now you see the Selvage ID, you know that this is a sign of higher quality fabric. It's gonna last with you for a little bit,
Learning something new today.
Yeah.
How did you pick the location for your store?
Well, when I moved back in town last year, I started really working on my online presence, and so I decided to create an online a local campaign. And so for the local campaign, I have been creating content. So I have a group of models that I've collected. It was started out like 10, somewhere between 20 and 15 people. And these are models, these are cameras, these are videographers. And we just go around town to popular spots. I was in Bethlehem on Main Street, and I was in Center City, Allentown, and just told the people, the photographers, just take a bunch of pictures. Just keep snapping, and I'm gonna pull some stories out from these pictures. So that's part of the store. If you can see, it's more like an art gallery.
Yeah.
The first thing that I did is I went into Lucky Brand Jeans across the street to figure out what not to do. So what they have is just shelves full of jeans, stacked on jeans, stacked on jeans, stacked on jeans. Oh, they know that you have jeans over there, they know. So I'm like, all right, so yeah, I got jeans, but I want more to show people how to style the jeans. How do you wear them, and what is it? Where does it come from? What is it going to do for you? So I'm playing a little bit of a different game. The store is a platform for the artist. So the guys that took the pictures, they come in, they see their pictures. I'm like, yeah, I forgot the markers, but next time come in and sign one of the pictures. So then they definitely feel they are part of what is going on here. And when I get new styles in, I'm going to do it again, have another photo shoot, and show people what is this. And clothing is one of those things where you wear it because it makes you look or feel some type of way, or it puts you in a group of the people that you want to be around. It qualifies you in some way. And it is an extension of our culture. So I feel like with this clothing, I'm making a statement that is going to stick in the culture. You know, we are of the age now where we don't just have to consume the culture, we can create it too. So that's part of what I want to do. I want to collaborate with as many um, independent artists and just people of interest as I can. So one person that I'm thinking about, and I keep putting it out in the air because I know it's going to happen eventually. I would love to do a collaboration with Toby and Wigway. You know, he designs all of his fits for his music videos. I'm not sure if you're up on Toby yet, but that
No,
guy,
no.
woo, he's special. He's
Okay.
special. Go
Well,
listen to a song called Debo by
okay.
Toby. Yeah, you'll like
Adding
that
to
one.
my playlist.
Yeah, go listen to that one. But yeah, if I could do something like that,
Yeah,
man, create a small collection with him and put
yeah.
some pieces together. Season two is gonna look dope. It's gonna be cool.
In a
It's
day
gonna
and age of social media, that's not impossible.
I know it's not
Happening
impossible
soon.
because
Yeah.
I was really trying to go the retail route at first back in
Okay.
2019, and I kept saying I wanna sit down, I want a meeting with
Mhm.
Sharifa Murdoch. I
Mm.
kept telling myself that a month later I was sitting in the office with her, and she is the co-owner of Liberty Fair Trade Show,
Okay.
and she's seen my product and she was like, "Yeah, come on in,
Yeah.
come on in," and it's all just about it starts with great product. If you
Mm.
have great product to start, people don't really ask that many questions, man. They don't.
Great.
So I know it starts with great product, and if for the next season, what I would love to do is if I could move some of this product out of the stock room, and it's
Mhm.
moving, we're doing pretty good for 11 days open.
Yeah.
I can make a December delivery and start bringing in some tops, jackets, tunics, hoodies, and those sort of things. All salvage though, so it's
Mhm.
really gonna be a denim shop, high end.
We just had a viewer comment that they liked the quote, create, not only consume.
Uh,
You're I need to start some quote t-shirts next as well.
man, I got a whole book full of them, book full of quotes.
There we
Yeah.
go. Words of wisdom, Andre Williams.
We could just say anonymous.
Right,
Say
right, right. You
anonymous.
got to figure out your pseudonym. But for
Yeah.
those who do want to check out the store, where are you located? Like
I
address.
am in the Promenade Shops. It's an
Mhm.
outdoor shopping mall in Center Valley, Pennsylvania. They call it Center Valley, they call it Southern Valley, but it's right next to Bethlehem. It's the Promenade Shop. So if you look
Yeah,
it up, you're gonna find it. And it's a high-end shopping mall. The pandemic took a bite out of it, but
yeah.
it's coming back. So people want to get out, they want to shop, and we're coming up on Christmas time now. Oh, as soon as it gets cold, gonna want a pair of jeans.
Right.
So we'll go across the street, come to AW.
And buy some for Christmas presents. Boom. Win-win.
Yeah.
Andre Williams, thank you so much for joining 10 Questions with NBC 10 Boston. It was a
Did
pleasure.
you asked 10 questions?
I don't honestly, I don't sometimes I ask more than 10 questions. You have to blow my spot up like that though. I lost count at this point, but I think it was 10.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kwani. I appreciate it. Let's do it again sometime.